some more nonsense. I have, let me put this on so it's more accurate to the color. I mean, even though I have ample light, for some reason, this does not give off. It's good enough. I have so much stuff that's crammed into totes and boxes that I've accumulated from estate sales and while sorting, partially sorting for 14 seconds, one of those boxes, I found this little booklet. And without even looking at it, I brought it up to possibly read on this channel. And then it turns out that good cheer, and when you look inside, it asks, are you a Trotty Veck? Which is basically some kind of, what is it? What is a Trotty Veck? I looked it up. Refers to both the character in Charles Dickens's short story, The Chimes, and a series of inspirational pamphlets. The Trotty Veck Messenger, started by two young men in 1916, based on the character's cheerful spirit. So, I mean, if nothing gives me the impetus to look at my Charles Dickens collection, which I've never opened any of the books. I mean, I've looked at them, but I've never actually read any Dickens that I recall. Obviously, I know The Christmas Carol from, TV or whatever, movies, but I don't really know anything about Dickens's work, so I've read some stuff about him, how he cheated on his wife and stuff, but so we got A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol, A Christmas Carol, Christmas Stories, American Notes, Pictures from Italy, Bleak House, Copperfield, Dickens's Child's History of England, Little Dorrit, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, Nicholas Nickleby, The Old Curiosity Shop, Oliver Twist, Pickwick Papers, and here is where I stop because this is probably the best chance to find that short story. Oh, what was it called again? The Chimes. This is probably my best. Well, from the Library of Charles Killian. Wonder if he made the beer, bruv. I've never, like I said, never looked into Dickens much. So, we will look into Dickens here. I will open that, and then we'll open this. Right, chat is live. Don't know if the Chimes is in here. I saw that there's an audiobook of the Chimes on YouTube, but it was 3 hours long, so this shows it's only about 57 pages. 143. The Chimes. So it is here. A goblin story. Of some bells that rang, an old year out and a new year in. 143 to what? It was like 80. The Chimes. So that's not a big read. I don't know why it took 3 hours for that one audiobook. Maybe it will take 3 hours. Anyway, now I know that I have the Chimes. Wonder if it's in the Dickens Digest. Let's check and see what the Dickens Digest is all about. What's this? Student activities coupon book issued. Viola Tagaduan. What year? 1952. Wayne State University. Viola Tagadulan. Physiology and Anatomy. Elizabeth Platt signed the paper. All right, let's see what's in the Dickens Digest. Copperfield Twist, Martin Chuzzlewit, Pickwick Papers. Whoa, look at this. That's a fortuitous. Dear Hal and family, to let you know we are thinking of you and to express our sincere sympathy in the loss of your mothering aunt. We express our sympathy to you and your family, Lee, Lorne, and Mary. That was nice of them. See if there's any other good things in here. Martin Chuzzlewit. Oh, we got something. Martin Chuzzlewit. It'd be nice if I could actually have time to look through all my books. As I rip that shit. He always wanted to explain things, but no one cared, so he drew. Sometimes he would draw, and it wasn't anything. He wanted to carve it in stone or write it in the sky. I'm not going to read that. I think I've read that before. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right, so that's going into the front. So the Pickwick Papers are not something I need. What's this? Stories about children. David Cobb. David. I didn't know Oliver Twist. Oh, I guess it is a story about children. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a children's story. 1929. Paul and Florence Dombey. Whoa, something in there. What was it? Come back, bruv. I lost it. Nothing. Just a sheet of paper. Nothing else. What's this? Stories about children, just a different version. Charles Dickens biography. Dickens Christmas with Mr. Pickwick. All right, that's the end of my Dickens there. So, looks like if I'm going to read it, it's going to be in that big book. Hard Times, Tale of Two Cities. Probably should stop buying the Christmas Carol. Whoa. Drop the quarter. Oh, man. All right. Let's get on with this. Good cheer. Yeah, I'm going to turn on this thing so it gives me some better light. Good cheer. Be of good cheer. Message number 1. These people from Saranac Lake, New York, put out a group of pamphlets, and this is apparently number 1. Good cheer. The most cheerful optimist in my class at school was a boy with one leg. Nobody can be an optimist until he loses something worthwhile. It's published by the Trotty Veck Messengers, Saranac Lake. Are you a Trotty Veck? And as you can see, it's a little postcard booklet that you can send to somebody. I suppose you go like this, and then you wrap it up, and then you send it. Back in the day, not sure what year this is from. Are you a Trotty Veck? The Trotty Veck Messengers are men and women who, having a wide vision and cheerful disposition, themselves have it in their hearts to give cheer and courage and inspiration to others, to send the message of good tidings. Wherever the postmen of the world carry their letters, will you be a Trotty Veck? The terms upon which these little books can be had are printed on the 3rd cover page. The Society of Trotty Veck Messengers was founded in 1916 by 2 young men, 2 messengers of cheer, who were obliged to live in the mountains, but who believed that the only way to conquer mountains is to climb, and climb cheerfully. These little books are still being published up in the mountains by the surviving one of the 2 young men. Trotty Veck. Toby Veck was a messenger. He was called Trotty from his pace, a weak, spare old man, but a Hercules in his good intentions. He loved to earn his money. He delighted to believe that he was worth his salt. With an 18-penny message in hand, His courage, always high, rose higher, and he had perfect faith in his ability to deliver. No matter how difficult the errand or how complicated the route, Trotty's headquarters were in a sheltered niche of a church wall, and his dearest friends, the inspiration of his life, were the chimes which measured off the record of his working hours. Wind and rain or a fall of snow only increased his courage, made him more anxious to be helpful in his calling as a common carrier. Trotty was an optimist, a messenger of cheer. You and I can be messengers of cheer. We can be Trotty Veck's. Copyright 1915 by Seymour Eaton. And I don't believe this is from 1915, but probably the 40s or 50s. For the story of Trotty Veck, see the Chimes by Charles Dickens, which I have within this book right here. The best short stories. Today, by the editor. Today is the biggest thing that's living. The day's gone by, no passion stir. It's today we should oh my God. It's today we should be giving gifts of frankincense and myrrh. Yesterday we had to borrow from the sunshine stored away. It may rain again tomorrow or be gray, but say, it's fine today. If you want to be continuously happy, you must know when to be blind, when to be deaf, and when to be dumb. Children and flowers. The man who can think evil in the presence of children and flowers is out of place in a Sunday shirt. Okay? Going, climbing, building, creating. That's fun. That's living. Arriving is the end. Don't make a fuss about it. The advice of Charles Dickens to an assembly of schoolboys was, do all the good you can and make no fuss about it. He should have said that to his wife who he left. And I think he put her in a mental institution. So don't ever listen to fucking Charles Dickens. Henry Drummond, in addressing an assembly of women, said, after you have been kind, after love has stolen forth into the world and done its beautiful work, go back into the shade again and say nothing about it. The Things You Leave Undone by Margaret Sangster. E. Sangster. I wonder if that's Sanger. It isn't the thing you do, dear. It's the thing you leave undone, which gives you a bit of heartache. At the setting of the sun, the tender word forgotten, the letter you did not write, bruv. The flower you might have sent, dear. Are you haunting ghosts tonight? A Merry Heart Goes Twice the Way by Ellen Thornycroft Fowler. The cynics say that every rose is guarded by a thorn which grows to spoil our posies, not our poises. But I no pleasure therefore lack. I keep my hands behind my back when smelling roses. Though outwardly a gloomy shroud, the inner half of every cloud is bright and shiny. I therefore turn my clouds about and always wear them inside out to show the lining. My modus operandi this, to take no heed of what's amiss and not a bad one, because, as Shakespeare used to say, a merry heart goes twice the way that tires a sad one. A Gem by Helen Gray Cone. There is no calm like that when storm is done. There is no pleasure keen as pain's release. There is no joy that lies so deep as peace. No peace so deep as that by struggle won. Worries at 80. He was 80 years of age that day. He had lived the allotted span. He had carried burdens hard to bear. He was every inch a man. 'Twas on this birthday that he said, of worries great and small, the things that never happened were the biggest of them all. Bullshit. West East, the set of the sails. One ship drives east and another west, with the self-same winds that blow. 'Tis the set of the sails and not the gales, which decides the way to go. Like the winds of the sea are the waves of fate. As we voyage along through life, 'tis the will of the soul that decides its goal, and not the calm or strife. The strife. You really don't know people until you know them by the backs of their heads. That's what she said. only to trust and do your best and wear as smiling a face as may be for others and ourselves. Why are we including Robert Louis Stevenson in there? Oh, that's right. This is good cheer. Pardon. Oath of the Young Men of Athens, which is, I assume, the guys who wrote this. I think they called themselves the Young Men of Athens. Maybe not. We will never bring disgrace to our city, to this, our city, by any act of dishonesty or cowardice, or nor ever desert our suffering comrades in the ranks. We will fight for the ideas and sacred things of the city, both alone and with many. We will revere and obey the city laws and do our best to incite a like respect and reverence in those above us who are prone to annul or to set them at naught. We will strive unceasingly to quicken the public sense of civic duty. Thus, in all these ways, we will transmit this city not only, not less, but greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. Your friend is the man who knows all about you and still likes you, or that shows his lack of guile. If weather had been created unchangeable, what then, Mr. Grumbler? Okay. James Whitcomb Riley. Just be glad, for we know not every morrow can be sad. So forgetting all the sorrow we have had, let us fold away our fears and put by our childish tears. And through all the coming years, just be glad. Wigwag. When you reach the mountaintop, wigwag. Courage to the follow in the foothills. A little sermon by Robert Louis Stevenson. To work is to worship, to be cheery is to pray, to be happy is the first step towards being pious. It always takes two to be glad. All right. This has been a really informative little booklet. Never forget that once and for a whole year, you were a 10-year-old kid yourself. The Philosophy of Mrs. Wiggs from the story of Lovey Mary. Is that also a Dickens story? I don't know. Lovey Mary. Are you in here, Lovey Mary? The battle of life. Hunted down. I don't see Lovey Mary in there. Is that a leaf? Kind of looks like a leaf. Lovey Mary. The Philosophy of Mrs. Wiggs from the story of Lovey Mary. I've made it a practice to put all my worries down in the bottom of my heart, then set on the lid and smile. You never can tell which way any pleasure is a-comin'. Whoever would have thought when we aimed at the cemetery that we'd land up at a first-class fire? I believe in having a good time when you start out to have it. If you get knocked out of our one plan, you want to get yourself another right quick before your spirits has a chance to fall. The way to get cheerful is to smile when you feel bad, to think about somebody else's headache when your own is most busted, to keep on believing the sun is a-shining when the clouds is thick enough to cut. Don't you go and get sorry for yourself. That's one thing I can't stand in nobody. There's always lots of other folks you can be sorry for, 'stid of yourself. A man deserves to be a doormat who signs himself your humble and obedient servant. Sunshine broken in the rill, though turned astray, is sunshine still. A little masterpiece by Robert Browning. The year's at the spring, and days at the morn. Mornings at 7, the hillsides dew pearled, the larks on the wing. Larkins on the wing, though? The snails on the thorn, God's in his heaven, all's right with the world. A Poet's Creed by Algernon Charles Swinburne. A creed is a rod, and a crown is of night. But this thing is God, to be man with thy might, to grow straight in the strength of thy spirits and live out thy life as the light. Even a tombstone will say good things about a fellow when he's down. Hope, your companion, author not known. Never go gloomy, man with a mind. Hope is a better companion than fear. Providence ever benignant and kind, gives with a smile what you take with a tear. All will be right, look to the light. Morning was ever the daughter of night. All that was black will be all that is bright. Cheerily, cheerily, then cheer up. Many a foe is a friend in disguise, many a trouble a blessing most true, helping the heart to be happy and wise, with love ever precious and joys ever new. Stand in the van, strive like a man, this is the bravest and clearest plan. Trusting in God while you do what you can. Cheerily, cheerily, then cheer up. How to make a shadow? Stand in your own sunshine. Tennyson's idea. However it be, it seems to me, 'tis only noble to be good. Kind hearts are more than coronets, and simple faith than Norman blood. A Worker's Creed by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. To keep my health, to do my work, to live. Never to look behind me for an hour, to see it if I to see to it I grow and gain and give, to wait in weakness and to walk in power, but always fronting forward to the light, always and always facing toward the right. Robbed, starved, defeated, fallen, wide astray. On with what strength I have, back to the way. Rain's My Choice by James Whitcomb Riley. It ain't no use to grumble and complain. It's just as cheap and easy to rejoice when God sorts out the weather and sends rain. Why? Rain's my choice. Yeehaw! The best thing about spring, it comes when it is most needed. It does. You never lived in Michigan, motherfucker. Because spring has been needed for about 2 months here. Cares. I lost them yesterday by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. The little cares that fretted me, I lost them yesterday, among the fields above the sea, among the winds at play, among the lowing of the herds, the rustling of the trees, among the singing of the birds, the humming of the bees, the foolish fears of what may happen, I cast them all away. Among the clover-scented grass, among the new-mown hay, among the husking of the corn, where drowsy poppies nod, where ill thoughts die and good are born, out in the fields with God. Life's Supreme Test by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. It is easy enough to be pleasant when life flows like a song, but the man worthwhile is the man who will smile when everything goes wrong, for the test of the heart is trouble, and it always comes with years. And the smile that is worth the praises of earth is the smile that shines through tears. Oh, Lord. Mercy, it is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. All right. You May Count the Day by George Eliot. If you sit down if you sit down at set of sun and count the acts that you have done, and counting find oneself denying deed, one word that eased the heart of him who heard, one glance most kind that fell like sunshine where it went, then you may count all days well spent. But if through all the livelong day you've cheered no heart by yea or nay, if through it all you've nothing done that you can trace, that brought the sunshine to one face, no act most small that helped some soul and nothing cost, then count that day as worse than lost. Don't grouch. Smash a window or a chair or take a cold plunge. Anything to get it over with. All right, bruv. Sounds like a communist manifesto, but... Or forget her. The girl with a good memory is not nearly so lovable as the good forgetter. All right. The Sixth Sense. Sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste, and the sense of humor. What Tommy learned. Well, Tommy asked the small boy's uncle, and what did you learn in school today? I learned a lot of things, replied Tommy proudly, and one of them was that this world is round and turns on a swivel thing like the great big globe in the schoolroom. Did you, sonny? Exclaimed Uncle, in pretended surprise. And what do you think of that now? I think, answered Tommy, in slow and thoughtful tones, that the teacher is asking me to believe a good lot for a small boy. Never too late to learn. They brought the condemned man to the gallows. Henry, said the sheriff, have you anything to say? Yes, sir. I's got a few words to say. I merely wish to state that this certainly is going to be a lesson to me. that guy's good. 12 o'clock. It was in a Texas town, and the noon's whistle in a canning factory was blowing. A hungry darky, whoa, a hungry darky, come on now. A hungry darky saw the workers troop forth, tin pails in their hands. He fetched a deep, sincere Afro-American sigh out of the innermost of his being, and then remarked half to himself and half for the benefit of any charitable bystanders, "Dar she go, dinner time for some folkses, but just 12 o'clock for me." All right. These Trotty Veck books. The terms upon which these books can be bought are set forth below. All numbers are of uniform sight and will fit into an ordinary size envelope should you care to mail one in this way. Be of good cheer, which I believe that's what this one is. It doesn't say good cheer, or be of good cheer, just good cheer. Be not afraid, courage, little lights, pluck, reveille, terms, 25 cents for 2 copies, $1 for 10 copies, $8.50 for 100 copies. Any assortment may be selected. All orders are sent prepaid to one address. Remit by check or money order. It's the safest way. Address all orders to the Trotty Veck Messengers, Saranac Lake, New York. Information about the Adirondacks will be gladly furnished to anyone. Mail this Trotty Veck message to a friend and write your personal message in the space below. Note, if you write in the above space, be sure to use a 3-cent stamp when mailing. Oh, so I guess you keep the booklet and then you're supposed to tear off this little thing, which makes sense because I don't think they would send it for a postcard rate if you sent this whole thing back in whatever year that was. So that makes sense. You tear this off and then you keep the booklet. Cheer up, bruv. But yeah, these are related to Dickens. And Dickens we have. The story is The Chimes. There's the chimes. The chimes. See 1 or 2 pages of the chimes and a goblin story. The chimes, a goblin story of some bells that rang, an old year out and a new year in. First quarter. There are not many people, and it is desirable, and as it is desirable that a storyteller and a story reader should establish a mutual understanding as soon as possible, I beg it to be noticed that I confine this observation neither to young people nor to little people, but extend it to all conditions of people, little and big, young and old, yet growing up, already growing down again. There are not, I say, many people who would care to sleep in a church. I don't believe that. I don't mean at sermon time in warm weather when the thing has actually been done once or twice, but in the night and alone. A great multitude of persons will be violently astonished, I know, by this position in the broad, bold day, but it applies to night. It must be argued by night, and I will undertake to maintain it successfully on any gusty winter's night appointed for the purpose with any one opponent chosen from the rest, who will meet me singly in an old churchyard before an old church door and will previously empower me to lock him in, if needed, to his satisfaction until morning. For the night wind has a dismal trick of wandering round and round a building of that sort, and moaning as it goes, and of trying with its unseen hand the windows and the doors, and seeking out some crevices by which to enter. And when it is got in, as one not finding what it seeks, whatever that may be, it wails and howls to issue forth again, and not content with stalking through the aisles and gliding round and round the pillars, and tempting the deep organ, soars up to the roof and strives to rend the rafters, then flings itself despairingly upon the stones below, and passes, muttering, into the vaults. Anon it comes up stealthily, and creeps along the walls, seeming to read in whispers the inscriptions sacred to the dead.
At some of these it breaks out shrilly, as with laughter, and at others moans and cries as if it were lamenting. It has a ghostly sound, too, lingering within the altar, where it seems to chaunt, in its wild way, of wrong and murder done, and false gods worshipped, in defiance of the tables of the law which look so fair and smooth, but are so flawed and broken. Ugh! Heaven preserve us sitting snugly round the fire. It has an awful voice, that wind at midnight singing in a church. Yeah, so that's this story, and that's where this little booklet from mid-century 1900s came from, obviously. The rest of this story shall be read at some other time. Possibly, maybe. Or maybe I'll listen to it, because there are full renditions of this on the YouTube. 1959. Charles E. Killian. You're killing me, Bob.